Hi, this is Eric Stromquist. Welcome to another week of Control Talk Now, your smart buildings and videocast and podcast. For the week ended November 15th, 2015. Got a great show today, but what would the show be without my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Kenny Spires from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, Big Dog.
Thank you very much, Eric. It's a great time to be here. I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Eric's new studio down here, HVAC Productions. It's an amazing setup. Wish everybody could see it. I feel the elevation of all this technology and the coaching that Eric has done. We got a heck of a show. We're coming off a big presence from Tree Sullivan. She really kicked us off with some tech updates from Silicon Valley. And we will rise to the occasion with the new studio presence here because we have a fabulous show. We have a great guest, and we're going to be covering continuous coverage of Lynxspring Exchange. We're going to go over some great products. We're going to go over some great solutions, a cybersecurity update, and Veterans Day Remembrance. So great show.
Well, it's a great show, and yeah, congratulations and thank you to all our veterans, Kenny, doing great stuff. We do have a big show this week. I tell you what, I want to start off talking a little bit about the Control Trends Awards. We're doing something a little bit differently. As you know, Kenny, we've been going through the nomination process for about the last couple of months where people are either writing in or voting or nominating their top 5 or 6 people in each category. And we have a very special announcement on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do something a little bit different. We are actually going to broadcast the finalists in each category. So Kenny and I will be recording that. Kenny's in Atlanta to do that. Unfortunately, our friend Marc Petock couldn't make it for the Tuesday night event. So all you'll have to do is just go to Control Trends Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the evening. You'll see there'll be a box there. You click on it. You'll get to watch it live. And then we'll be doing a repeat broadcast, or we'll rebroadcast it actually Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. So if you miss it Tuesday night, you can pick it up on Wednesday. And if you miss both those, Kenny, Thursday, we'll actually just do the post. So you can actually read who the winners were. But it's a very exciting, Kenny. I mean, it's the biggest response we've had yet in terms of people that have nominated and voted. It's phenomenal, huh?
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We've experienced exponential growth in the number of people involved, committed to the nomination process, the number of countries involved, getting involved, seeing what's going on. So what's happening is the depth of the whole presentation needs to adjust to accommodate that. We just thank everybody, all the sponsors, all the media sponsors, Ken St. Clair and Automated Buildings, and now all the sponsors are reaching out, touching their networks and really energizing. So we're seeing an incredible influx of responses. So well done. It's a great thing for everybody. It gets you a chance to dust off your social media, your marketing collateral, and itself for a good cause, because you're letting everybody know you're participating and to solicit their support for your products or people or solutions.
Yeah, it's exciting, Kenny. Very, very exciting. We're going to be the best Control Trends Awards ever down in Orlando, Florida on Sunday. We'll talk more about that in the show. But Kenny, as you know, we've got a new segment on Control Talk Now, the Smart Building Videocast and Podcast, which is called Ask a Controls Expert. So, and what basically happens here is every week we get a question. Hopefully you will record it on your smartphone and email the audio file to us, controltrends@gmail.com. But if you can't do that, you could just controltrends@gmail.com with your question, put in the title, Ask a Controls Expert, and we will reach out to the worldwide Control Trends community. We will find an answer to your question. So we're going to start that segment right now, Kenny. Get ready. Here we go.
It's time for Ask a Controls Expert. Ken and Eric reach out to the global Control Trends community to get your controls questions answered. Now, here's your controls question of the week.
Our question this week was emailed in from a gentleman by the name of Jubbin. Not sure where Jubbin's from, but his question was, hey, you got a building. You got a building automation control system you can control it with, or could you use a PLC to control it? So to get an answer to that question, we reached out to Dozier Mills, who has very near and dear to our heart. Dozier's with Stromquist and Company. So without further ado, Doz, can you help Jubbin out?
This is Dozier Mills of Stromquist and Company, and thank you for your question. PLCs versus building automation. This has been discussed on many of HVAC forums, and the use of the ladder diagram format is a nice one. But having said that, the PLCs are dominantly used in an industrial system. BAS, which is your building automation system, that would be companies like Honeywell, Johnson Controls, and Siemens. Things that we looked at in deciding would be the critical uptime, the speed, the protocols, the cost, and also the contractor's expertise. So if you're having a contractor install that, make sure they do understand the application that they're installing it for you, the cost that's involved, and also the support. But just know that the PLCs, they're great for relays and timers and counters, and again, they are in an industrial application. And if you need any help with building automation, you have a good source here at Control Trends. And I thank you for your question.
Hey, thanks very much, Dozier Mills from Stromquist and Company. And hey, you know, Kenny, Dozier is a very interesting guy. He is a musician, and he actually has a band, and they're in all different parts of the world. And they actually use, you know, streaming software where they actually play and record music together. And your brother, Greg Smyers, I think jams with them from time to time.
That's what he told me. He says it's an electronic studio. They're from all over the world. Europe, Georgia, Florida, Pittsburgh, and it must be, he said it's a lot of fun. He said, and it really sounds good. So Doze, he's got to be an expert in that style of recording. And we also want to thank Doze for his assists. He's always there. Smart guy. He's got a good background, former Air Force.
Yeah, just like you. So thank you, Doze, for your service to the country, as well as Kenny Smyers.
And he also gave a nice post we're going to talk about later on, covering the Veterans Day, which was a very important holiday.
I want to ask you a question. Have you guys done many PLCs in your time?
You know, no. To answer your question, no. We dabbled in it to find out that you can't be a master of all trades because they're apples and oranges. They're different styles, different approaches, different speeds, different price points. And we focused on the movement of air and water through a building where the PLC is focusing on a process. And their speeds are incredible. The costs of those PLCs were always much, much higher than what we were used to. They were always proprietary protocols, you know, and there's some great ones out there. But now we're seeing, and you should probably talk about that a little bit more too, but because the form fit of our controllers are getting so good and the shrinking of the boards, that we can put so much more speed into our, like the Jace 8000 come out to be a good example, would be, that would hold up to an industrial application because it has the horsepower underneath the cover that we didn't have. We didn't need it. We didn't have to get a temperature set point, didn't have to report its change of value every hundredth of a second, you know, where a processor where you're controlling some critical, you know, enormous production or manufacture something, you need that real fast speed. We didn't typically need that, but we have it now. So we're seeing people that make Jace 8000 controllers are telling us about people putting those to an industrial or formerly a PLC application. So cool stuff.
Yeah, you know, Kenny, what we're finding is, and Jubin, this is part of your answer too, we're finding that that using a PLC in a building automation control system doesn't always work because the PLCs are really designed for the processor. So a lot of relay logic, they program different, they do different things. But what we have found is that using, now, like you said, Kenny, with the advent of building automation controls getting so powerful, we're seeing a lot of those being used in industrial applications. As a matter of fact, one of our good friends, Scott Cochran from Cochran Supply in Detroit, had a very interesting question. One of the big three car manufacturers, the CEO asked a very interesting question. How much does it cost to make a car? And they went through all their industrial protocols, all their PLCs and all that, and nobody could tell them how to do it. It was going to cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to put the PLC type technology in place to figure that out. Mm-hmm. They reached out to Scotty, and Scotty was able to use a Niagara Tritium Jace very, very affordably, get him the information he needed, and that has led to, at least in the auto industry, Niagara being cool. You know, the way to go, and as opposed to the very expensive DSC type systems on the industrial side. So, Jubin, I think, you know, again, using the building automation controls to control industrial processes is more of a trend than the other way around. But great question. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, Kenny, tell us a little about the show this week, buddy.
Well, Eric, like I said, we've got to fill the shoes of last week's show. We didn't have to go too far. We continue the coverage of the Lynxspring Exchange 2015, and we have 3 great interviews, and you're going to go over the first couple. And we also have a demonstration of a new product that came out from DG Logics, but we kind of take these kind of in order, but they'll all kind of feather in together. The first one, again, was an extension of coverage for the Lynxspring Exchange, but this was a very important one because this involves the CEO and co-founder Terry Swope, and he's just an all-around good guy. I mean, he's an all-American at everything. He plays blues guitar. He's very brilliant with the contracting industry. He went from being a contractor into the OEM world, and now Lynxspring is probably one of the fastest growing companies in our world, in our building management world. We just see them coming up with one success after another. Of course, Marc Petock had a lot to do with that, but you were there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Terry Swope and kind of the stage he set with his opening remarks?
Yeah, Kenny, I tell you what, I did have the privilege of interviewing Terry Swope, the president, CEO, and co-founder of Lynxspring. And I tell you what, I love this guy, man. He is cool. Among other things, he's kind of like a Greg Allman doppelganger, much better looking version than Greg Allman from the Allman Brothers, plays blues guitar. But I like the way he rolls, Kenny, man. He's just one of these guys that's straight up, a lot of integrity. So it was interesting. I got a chance to sort of, we're sort of on this theme now, if you think about it. We talked to Lars van der Hagen from Belimo, and in talking to Terry, it seems like behind every great company, there's a great philosophy. And I think, Terry, as you can hear in the interview, attributes a lot of his success to a gentleman by the name of Zig Ziglar, who was a motivational speaker. And sort of at the crux of Terry's philosophy, and I think his company's philosophy, is if you help people get what they want, enough people get what they want, they will help you get what you want. Sure. So they roll with a lot of integrity. They make great products. Obviously, we're big buddies with Marc Petock, who is their vice president of marketing, but just a really class group of people. They do great products, great deliveries. So it was good to get to spend some time with Terry. Awesome.
When I think of this collaboration efforts and the building of an ecosystem, I'm really hip on that now. I think those are the trends we're seeing. Where in order to get to some place down the road in the future, you have to work on it now, and the fastest way to get downstream is collaboration. They also came out with the E2E. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the E2E, the enterprise to end device?
Well, I think that what they're really playing at is a lot of other people. They're really getting to the edge. So if you look at Lynxspring and some of the acquisitions they made, for everything from Connex Energy, where they're actually controlling the supply, to their Jenny and their Jace, where they're actually controlling the demand or the usage, to pushing things out to the edge, where they're putting more power on the edge. A lot of people are doing different aspects of that, but I think what makes Lynxspring a bit unique, Kenny, is I think they're like a one-stop shop, if you will. They sort of have it all under one roof. But yeah, they're pushing out. They've got their Onyx product, which they come out with, which allows them to communicate with different protocols and different devices right there at the edge. So we hear a lot more about that, Kenny. I think that might be a bit premature, but maybe game changer might be something that we might be calling that in the not too distant future.
Well, they keep working towards that. The future is now, and they really key up to that and play that out well. And they got a great staff too, great technical support, great marketing. So well done, Lynxspring Exchange. But we'll be coming back to you here shortly. So we're going to move on to our next post because. This is also a very interesting post in itself because it's just the tip of the iceberg. And this is the Jace 8000, an in-depth look. Don't miss the next Tritium talk. I think we got to kind of back up a little bit and go back to our summit coverage in Las Vegas, where we worked pretty much under the umbrella and hand in hand at certain times with Jenny Graves. And they talked about this this prodigious effort that they were going to take the Niagara AX into the Niagara 4. And they got a CEO that really was capable of doing that and providing that leadership, Nina DeCosmo. And so we're now seeing the fruits of those labors, 2 years in the making at least, a whole new concept marketing-wise, a new website, a new Niagara Central, new sign-on procedures. And I'll tell you, once you put an effort into it, you really start getting some good results out of that. Also to recognize the hard work of Scott Boehm and Ed Merwin. That's a hell of a team of Salesforce. You always call Ed Merwin the grandfather of DDC or integration.
Tritium, man. The grandfather of Tritium, man.
And the tech support guys. I mean, these guys are working day and night to get this, to really deliver it. And now they have it. So what they're doing now to spread the word and really get deep penetration is they're saying, don't miss our next Tritium talk for the latest cutting edge controller. It's the JACE 8000. It's almost here. So you want to make sure you're up to speed on the platform's power and enhanced capabilities, because we were saying about it can compete everywhere at all time. The JACE 8000, they're going to get an in-depth look. They have 3 webinars, and you can go to the links on our site to go right there to the registration. But we're seeing, like we were talking about those lines of technologies that used to separate us, that used to keep PLCs in their leg, keep DDC controllers in its leg. We're seeing now that the users and the ability of technology to refine itself, it's going to see, we're seeing the JACE 8000 is going to play an incredible role in the future of all things, processes, smart cities, the white space, data centers. I mean, this controller is ready for big game.
I think it is, Kenny, and Niagara Falls here, man, the Trident, all that good stuff. And I think it's been a big leap forward for people. I think there have been some adjustments people are having to make, and I think that we're still sort of finding our way through some of those. But I think the team at Tritium's doing a great job getting that worked out. We had Vern Peterson was in doing a Niagara Falls training class for us, for our integrators last week or the week before in Atlanta. And yeah, it's like any major revision or update. You just got to work through some things, but I think it's going to be so worth the effort when it's all said and done. Yeah,
and again, they're moving forward. You can't move backward with technology, and you got to stay abreast of the latest technologies that's on the peripheries. It was like one of the things that we heard down there at the summit. John Sublett said, "You got to keep moving forward. Look at Windows coming out, Windows 10 now. It's never going to go back to Windows XP. I mean, that's ridiculous. So you don't want to be stranded as in an island of technology that because it was a sweet spot, you refuse to make upgrades, you refuse to do this. Then all of a sudden, you've just trapped yourself and your organization into an antiquated or unsupported or sunsetted set of hardware, software. So make an effort. It's going to be worth your while, and they're doing everything they can to streamline it. So some of the benefits I know from being a distributor is that once you get used to the ordering templates, once you order, it's going to make more sense because you're not going to have so many different items. They're all going to be. It's going to be compact. It's going to give you suggestions. They've got a great library on the Vicon library. Go to vicon.com, go to library, and it really explains it, the tiers going on. How you need to go this way and that way. So it's a great guidance system, and again, hats off because that is a heck of a lot of work, and they did it in a pretty short period of time.
Yeah, they did a great job. Well, what do we have up next, Kenny?
Well, this is another fruits of the Lynxspring exchange endeavors. This is a report that was presented. It was a benefit to all the people that were at the Lynxspring exchange, but it's the Frost and Sullivan report. Cybersecurity in smart buildings. Inaction is not an option anymore. And it's about a 20-page central document, 42 pages altogether. But it is a cybersecurity seminal document, very similar to what Fred Gordy has done. It's written by Kanna Kund, and she's a principal consultant of energy and environment at Frost & Sullivan. And she takes a History Channel look at the whole story of cybersecurity. She details the origins of the vulnerabilities to the present and rather disparaging status we're in right now. And cybersecurity attacks, they seem so distant from our doorstep, but they pose real serious threats and challenges to us as building purveyors. A term where anything in the building market, everybody's responsible. Like Marc Petock always says, it's everybody's responsibility. It's not just the IT guy. It's not just the integrators guy. It's everybody's responsibility. So it's a very, very important document that they gave to the public at large. And they're saying that you can't hide behind obscurity anymore. You can't be naive to this anymore. And the C-level people, they're responsible. They have a responsibility to protect the brand, to protect the personal files and records, their customers' files and records. So, and the insurance company now have become the sledgehammer. Cyber insurance premiums are absolutely surging. Insurance companies or an agency they hire will soon be testing your cybersecurity keyholes and your cybersecurity measures or the lack of them to set your premiums. So
Wow. Well, I think we have a stock tip right there, Kenny. I think investing in companies that sell cybersecurity insurance. I think that might be a good. I am not a financial advisor by any way stretch of the imagination. Let me rephrase it. I'm not saying go buy cybersecurity stock. I'm curious, any of our investors out there, you think that would be a good play, because it sure seems like that's not going away, and it seems like insurance is the way you're going to protect yourself, and at the same time, it's going to force people to take it more seriously. As a matter of fact, as a distributor, we've jokingly said on the show that, you know, it might be, we might sell building automation control system, and a line item might be your cybersecurity for that particular site, your insurance.
Eric, we're not far away from that, because there's no better person to do and write the actual policy up than somebody that's selling it. For instance, back in the gas valve days, we had one bad situation after another where you would buy a gas valve from any of the manufacturers, and it had a $4.89 insurance policy for that exact gas valve. Every single gas valve was insured because of the risk, the liability, and they just had to do it. There had to be some way to deal with those incredible payouts. You know, insurance companies they've got actuaries like my daughter Stephanie that they've got to postulate worst case scenarios and reverse that number back into a transactional cost. You know, and so it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And the hard part to do it, and I'm guilty of it myself, is you don't know if you got enough energy at the end of the day to deal with another crisis, you know, or another issue. So if it becomes part of your fabric of your organization, if it's budgeted item, then it's not an uphill climb to get somebody to take some time and energy to listen to it, and then to pay an expert to come in and do it. Like, you know, SmartCore, they've got a survey now where if you want to get real answers, call this number, get a professional. He comes in, he does a once over, and he says, look, you got problems here, here, and here. Here's some suggestions, and here's what's going to cost you. Then you got people that sell products that and solutions that, you know. So it's been skirted around the end. You know, it's like security. It's not an issue until it actually falls on your doorstep, and by then it's too late. And you're in a panic mode. You're in a reactionary mode. You've lost brand, you know, potency, power, you know, money. You know. So
you're thinking that it's probably going to be like as a business, if you had company cars, there's no way in the world you would ever think about having a company car without having insurance on it. As a distributor like you and I are, you would never in a million years think about having inventory in a building without having it insured. Hell, we don't even ship products without having insurance on it, right?
You can't.
You can't.
They won't you buy the land. You know, you have to, before you get signed on a dotted line, you have to show that you have general liability. Yeah. And in certain cases, very specific insurance, because they've got to mitigate the risks.
So it's going to be kind of like, you know, our kids are going to come up. It's like, you know, the joke was when we were coming up, there was always one of our buddies who was the partier in college or whatever, and he got the job as a life insurance salesman. He wanted to meet all your friends and all that and try to sell them life insurance. And then the next one's going to be the cybersecurity. And, you know, it's like, hey, your friend Bill from college. Yeah, what does he do? Well, he sells cybersecurity insurance, you know.
Well, you know what? I think the more that the big people, and I know that certain manufacturers have spent an incredible amount of money to make their boards more secure, their baby boards, their daughter boards, you know, and we know that you know, we got big people like Intel. They bought Wind River, and they bought the other what's the name of their? Gosh, I always trip up on this, but it's they bought a virus protection, McAfee. They bought McAfee, yeah. So they've taken it so seriously. They bought a virus software company to protect the communications that happen within their equipment and within their network. They encode, decode. And you know, so that's where I'd like to see a lot of the, you know, heavy lifting get done, so we could pay for that in the price of the product or in the price of the service, and it doesn't become you know, our solution only. Now, to Marc Petock's point and Fred Gordy's point, it is still our problem. We still need to be involved. It reminds me of you know, being in the military, where everybody's responsible for operational security. Everybody's supposed to say, who's that person who just walked in the door? What's your name? Do you belong? Who are you here to see? Sign the visitor log. Check their ID card. You know, it's just not the security people's problem or issues. It's everybody's problem.
But I think if you're having to buy insurance with it, it's going to be the type of thing that if you're taking certain precautions, you're going to pay less for that cybersecurity insurance. I know even in healthcare now, you're seeing that if you have like programs as a company where you're doing wellness type things, you pay a lower rate. And I think it'll be that too. But I think it's going to be the Wild Wild West. I think whoever gets on board on this isn't going to go away. This is going to be a great business opportunity for somebody. So, but you mentioned two great names. Fred Gordy, our friend from SmartCore, used to be with McKinney's, one of the definite guys that's out in front of this, as well as Marc Petock. And speaking of Marc Petock, Kenny, tell us about our next guest.
All right, we have somebody that's very, very special. He's one of the most recognized and respected professionals in the business. He's one of Realcomm's 10 most sought-after people in the intelligent building space. He's an expert in cybersecurity, and he's also the MC of the Control Trends Awards. We'd like to introduce and bring on to the show Mr. Marc Petock from Richmond, Virginia. Welcome to the show, Marc.
Hey, Marc, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, guys, thanks. Appreciate you letting me join you once again. Delighted to be here. Sorry I couldn't be in Atlanta with you guys today, but, you know, have Marc will travel, and unfortunately my travel schedule didn't permit it, so.
Well, hey, we're sorry you couldn't be with us too, Marc, but hey, the one thing Kenny did not say in his introduction that sort of goes without saying is all-around great guy, the type of guy you want to have a beer with, the type of guy you want to hang out with, the type of guy that if the chips are down, he's going to come through for you. Marc, you know, you're one of our favorite people, man. We really, really love you, man. And I tell you what, we're so sorry you can't be with us Tuesday night because we will be broadcasting the finalist for the 2015 Control Trends Awards. As our viewers know, we've been going through the nomination period, and the top 5 or 6 in each category will be revealed Tuesday night on Control Trends at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll do a rebroadcast Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you'll get to find out who the winners are, and not the winners, but the finalists are. And then we will, Thursday, we'll just put the post up. So if you're interested in finding out who's on there, please tune in. And of course, right at the center of the Control Trends Awards, as Kenny said, is our MC, Mr. Marc Petock. Marc, any thoughts on this year's awards?
Well, first of all, you know, when you just said, you know, we're going to be unveiling the finalists, and I'm going, this is our 4th one, and I'm finding that hard to believe. For some reason, that's just setting into my mind that, you know, this is the 4th time, which is fabulous, fantastic. And, you know, we've done this in Dallas, New York, Chicago, Orlando, and I just can't believe it. And, you know, I was saying this to my wife the other day. I said, you know, I think it's time we get a tour bus. And so that, you know, we can go from city to city to do the Control Trend Awards, that we definitely need that tour bus, you know. So, again, I think it's going to be a very exciting show. We've got a lot of things planned and some that we're still planning. So it definitely will continue to be surprises and stuff like that. But I encourage everybody listening and those who aren't, bring your friends, bring your family. You know, come join us at the Control Trend Awards this year. It'll definitely be an interesting venue for sure.
Well, I tell you, I think it's the best venue we have yet. Kenny, give them the 401 on the venue, because I'm so pumped up and excited about the venue and the time we're actually doing the event.
I will. First of all, I have to make a note there. Add tour bus to wish list. Check. No, Eric, I tell you, and Marc, the venue itself is an actual professional facility for concerts. It's a premier event venue. They have Tom Petty played there, Cyndi Lauper. We got to see behind the stage. So our Control Trends Awards was growing exponentially, and we always had a problem fitting a big show into a small box in a windowed time. This is the first opportunity where we have a venue that it can accommodate the show that we're planning. And because we're recognizing people, solutions, products, in a style that's kind of a Hollywood-oriented, an Oscar event. We got the red carpet. We've got, you know, a bigger-than-life show. It's going to be a sit-down banquet dinner. So if you're a vendor and you're coming to the show for whatever reason, come to the Control Trends Awards, because you won't have to take your clients somewhere else or your customers. Bring them, take care of the tickets, bring them to the show. We'll host it for you. There'll be a complete dinner, banquet dinner. The drinks and all the libations are available from 6:30 to 9:30. We avoided the conflicts the best we could with the scheduling, so that we're not having people crash into their AHR setups and whatever. So normally on Sunday you come in, the vendors are very busy working hard at the HR show setup, and then they normally have to take their customers out to dinner, so it's a long night. Well, we thought we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Bring your customers to the Control Trends Awards, enjoy a fabulous venue, a fabulous show, professional people, and a location, and a first-class dinner.
It'll be rocking and rolling, man.
Absolutely. And again, you know, the fact that it is at the Hard Rock, and, you know, I made a joke about the tour bus. You know, if we look at our industry, you know, and what you guys coined several years ago, when I think it was at the first time that the Control Trend Awards was announced, you know, our industry is full of rock stars. So this venue is definitely appropriate for a lot of the nominees and for all of those that, are just part of this tremendous industry that we have globally here.
Completely agree, Mark. And, again, we all compete like hell all during the year. So this is the opportunity. We come together, we put our swords down, we celebrate each other, we celebrate ourselves. Kenny and I and yourself, it's the time we get to walk the red carpet. It's our night in the sun because we think that controls people are the coolest people on the planet, and we think everybody else should believe that too. So it is going to be fabulous this year. And Mark, shifting gears real quick, speak a bit if you would, because one of my favorite awards is the Petock Award, which is named after you, and you picked the winner of that award. Speak a bit about that and the criteria and what you sort of look for from the Petock Award.
Well, there's a couple criteria, but the real main one is, there's a couple, I should say. There's passion for the industry, that you get up each and every day and you can't wait to be part of the industry each and every day, and have a good spirit about yourself and the industry, your fellow colleagues in the industry, no matter if they're your fellow associates or they're competitors or whatnot, because we're all in this together. And then finally, one of the big components of the Petock Award is heart. And I'm reminded of a story or a movie, and when I say heart, is many of you, one of my favorite movies is called The Replacements, with Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves. And, there's a line in there where they're talking to each other, and Keanu Reeves is kind of feeling down a little bit and whatnot. So Gene Hackman, as the coach, turns over to him and says, well, if you want to win, you got to have heart. It takes heart to win. It takes heart to play this game. So that's a lot of like the Petock Award, and that we give people, and we recognize people who have that heart in our industry.
Well, and Kenny and I named the award, created the award, and named it after you, Mark, because what a lot of people might not know, if it wasn't for you, the Control Trends Awards might never have really taken off. You reached out to us early. We didn't even know you, or we knew of you, but not know you, and you gave us a call. You said, hey, I think what you guys is doing is great. How can I help? And I think that's kind of at the heart of the Petock Award. That's what stuck with Kenny and myself. And so, again, we really appreciate you and all you do, and I think it's very fitting that you sort of pass that on, play it forward, so to speak.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. So let me ask you guys this, I'm going to turn the tides on you guys, and instead of you interviewing me, I'm going to interview you a little bit about the Control Trend Awards. So, as we said earlier, this is our fourth year doing this, and each and every year it gets bigger and better and whatnot. And one of the things that I have seen, and I want you guys to comment on, is that the Control Trend Awards and the controltrends.org site and whatnot is truly global. Tell me a little bit about what's been going on globally and why you think such a good global audience now is all part of this.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to, I don't say boast, but we're very, very proud of how Control Trends has grown. Controltrends.org and Control Trends Awards. We went over the million viewer mark a couple of months ago. Now we're up 1.25 million viewers, and the number of countries is over 80 that visit the controltrends.org site. But the Control Trends Awards, it also caught the global bug. We found out that there was a global voice, and we were helping to be part of that global voice, that people were hungry for knowledge, information about the industry, and they felt the same way, that they work very hard. The professionals are every bit as caliber as a pilot, a banker, a marketing analyst, whatever. The people that work in the controls business, whether you're working as a product manager, inside salesman, systems integrator, you're working as a very important person in your community and the cities, states. You're providing the comforts that people need to actually enjoy life better. So we thought that these guys, these women were unsought heroes that we were going to take the opportunity to feature one night a year. It's not asking too much, and people become remembered by that. There's people that have talked to somebody for 25 years on a phone and never saw what that person looks like. And that's the person that's been their go-to person, does all the heavy technical lifting for them, has given them years and years of customer support. So now you get to see what people look like, and it's just really been successful. And so it's global. We have the buildings now are basically our common denominator, our common currency, and people really enjoy the opportunity to share and celebrate that same venue or that same medium and opportunity. So, Mark, I can tell you this, that we've had incredible participation with nominations from over 35 countries. Last year, we had over 46 countries participate in the actual voting. We've had nominations from Lampur, Malaysia, the United Emirates. We've had Middle Europe countries that I've never really heard of. They're actually putting their contractors, their systems integrators were listed from UK, Australia. So we know that there's a desire for this. So that was very impressive. UK is becoming a very big pivot point for the industry. It always was, but for our Control Trends Award. So we're seeing a growth, and we really want to appreciate, because what Eric said, I want to reiterate that, is that when we were really, this was a fledgling idea, we weren't sure how it was going to be received. You said, guys, this is big. Because long after we're here and gone, we hope that the Control Trends Awards continues to sustain our industry with that element that it was lacking, and we want to see that keep growing all the way up to the museum. The Hall of Fame, we had the initial Werner Buck, then we had Jerry Frank, and then last year we had George Thomas and Michael Newman, and these are all icons in our industry, and we're going to get to those other ones with the big equipment people and people that really changed, made the Sun Belt go away, So we're looking forward to 2015, we had to kind of cap things, and we had time constraints, but we've already got people that want to participate that missed this round this year that want to participate in 2016. So that's really exciting. That's really encouraging.
It is. One thing what you just said, Kenny, which I really liked what you said, is that buildings are a common currency, if you will, no matter if you're in Paris, you're in Toronto, or you're in Hong Kong or Dubai, it really doesn't matter. But, also, beside the buildings being that common currency, you look at the technology and what our industry is solving, making buildings more efficient, bringing the latest and making these buildings operate safer, better, whatnot. It's all the same, no matter what country you're in. And so I think, your point about this common currency is truly, what really brings this Control Trends community together as a global entity, if you will.
Cool.
Very well said, Mark. Very, very well said. Well, listen, speaking of great companies, I know you don't like to talk, we're probably talking about the Control Trends Awards, but I did get a chance to cover the Lynxspring Exchange, as you know. I wonder if you might take a few minutes and comment on that. First of all, congratulations. I think you did a fantastic job with it, as well as the rest of your team. I thought it was fabulous. Your thoughts on it, real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, the Lynxspring Exchange was our first ever truly partner conference. We had a couple of weeks ago at the Argosy Hotel and Casino in Kansas City. And we had several hundred people attend, and it truly was good. And we had some great content and educational sessions delivered by people within the industry, from Frost & Sullivan, Intelligent Buildings, John Houston, and many others, as well as our own Lynxspring and customers as well. So our intent is, this is a great way to exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, and move the industry and our partners forward. So it's something that we've decided we're going to go ahead and be doing every other year, and it's just a great thing to get together with everybody and see different perspectives. So, and again, I appreciate you coming out, Eric, and Control Trends for being one of our great supporters for that.
Well, really did enjoy it, Mark. I was just was amazed at the quality of people, your systems integrators that were there. And we got a chance to, the vendor showcase, the vendors that were there supporting you. We had a chance to do a lot of interviews there, which we will be posting on Control Trends. But the one interview I got, and this is, again, one of my favorite people in the industry, I got to interview Terry Swope, the CEO and co-founder of Lynxspring. And he's one of my favorite people, Mark. And for people who don't know Terry, what can you tell me? By the way, Terry is one of the nominees for the Executive of the Year for a smaller manufacturer. So hopefully he'll do well this year. But what can you tell us about Terry?
I think, the way you introduce Kenny all the time, the man, the myth, the legend, is the same equal billing, if you will, for Terry. He's been around for a long time and truly a pioneer in this industry, having the vision and the forethought many, many years ago that integration, automation was going to be the wave of the future for our buildings, and really started Lynxspring and got together the band of brothers, so to speak, the people, the teams, and the technology, from developing our own technology to bringing together some of the industry's best technology together. So one of the smartest men that you'll ever want to know or meet, a wonderful human being. And as you've said all along, he's got a love for the guitar. And one of these days, we will get him to play live on Control Trends. That's got to be a challenge for the three of us to get him to play live.
Well, Marc, I don't know whether you remembered or not, because Terry's very talented. But actually, I reached out to Terry and asked him if he wanted to do an intro to the show. And I don't know if you remember or not. He got the guitar out and sang an intro and played the guitar.
Bring that back.
So that's the kind of guy Terry is. I mean, you ask Terry for a nickel, he's going to give you a dime. And I think that sort of epitomizes your guys' philosophy as a company. Lynxspring is just known for, over-delivering and going that extra mile.
Yeah, and I do remember that. But this time what we want to do is really get them together with a couple of his folks that he knows and hear some good old Kansas City blues like you've never heard it before. So absolutely.
Well, we look forward to that.
Cycling back to the Lynxspring Exchange, Marc, I unfortunately couldn't make it, but Eric did a great job covering it. But I was following you guys every day in the posts. But you introduced a couple of things I thought were very, very important, and you covered the subject of cybersecurity. So if you would, please answer the cybersecurity. How important was it received well? You had some experts there, but did you make any inroads? Did people leave there feeling compelled to get involved in cybersecurity?
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up, Ken. As you know, cybersecurity has been an important issue facing our industry, and one that we at Lynxspring have been very active role in trying to address parts of cybersecurity, especially with remote access. And yes, we had a whole session devoted exclusively to cybersecurity. We had some of our own team talking. We've had some folks from NetOp. We have folks from Frost & Sullivan and Sean Clan from Intelligent Buildings. And it was well received because one of the interesting pieces is that the folks at Frost & Sullivan had just completed a new industry survey on cybersecurity in and around buildings. And the information that they got out of that and they reported in this was absolutely amazing, in that it's confirmed a lot of what we've been talking about over the last several years, that cybersecurity related to our buildings is indeed an issue, and it needs to be addressed on a serious basis. And again, something that we've said all along, or especially myself, it's a shared responsibility. It's for the technology providers to step up, step in, and do whatever they can to ensure the cybersecurity of their particular technologies. It is the system integrator community, the contractor community, to build it into the solutions that they are installing. And on the end user side, they need to step up and say, hey, what are you doing to help ensure the cybersecurity of the technology that you're putting into my buildings and that you're running? So, but it was definitely a lot of good talk about it, and I think people walked away with a whole new perspective on it.
Awesome. The Edge to Edge, I thought was another really cool presentation. Speaking of cybersecurity, we're going to see cybersecurity insurance come up, like life insurance, hurricane insurance, flood insurance, life insurance. We're going to see cyber insurance fit right in there in that deck of cards. The Edge to Edge, I think that also seems to follow the general philosophy of Lynxspring, that you guys are about collaboration. You're about the ecosystem, building a group around a product and give them those tools and then let it grow. And so that edge-to-edge enterprise, does that kind of fit into that ecosystem of collaboration?
It does. And then again, as the whole Internet of Things is starting to take shape within the building industry, if you will, even though, if you look at it, we as an industry, we've been doing IoT for many, many years, 15 plus years. We used to call it M2M back in the old days. And but that's our initiative to really develop technology, deliver technology and solutions that are from the edge, truly at the edge, all the way up to the enterprise, up to the cloud, and anything in between. So with that, we developed what we call the Onyx platform, which is a series of open hardware platform that we're building new products in and around. A couple of the products that we released at the Lynxspring Exchange was a BACnet to Haystack data pump. We released a Onyx router, wireless router, and also a Modbus to BACnet gateway bridge. So you'll start to see some more things in the future based in and around that. So it's a whole new initiative for our company in which we're developing and bringing out new technology.
Cool. Very cool.
Very cool, Mark. Very cool. Well, listen, I want to cycle back around to the cybersecurity and again acknowledge you as one of the people that's really sort of our Paul Revere out, sort of making sure that we know that the hackers are coming. The hackers are coming. But I'd like for you to speak because we do have a new award we're offering this year. We got our one Fred Gordy, who is, I think, a kindred spirit, Mark, with you regarding this. Fred is going to be presenting a cybersecurity, we might call it the Sheriff Award. We're not sure yet. That'll be up to Fred, but he'll be picking a deserving individual that is sort of furthering that cause. And speak, if you would, a little bit about Fred and maybe the importance of the Control Trends Awards acknowledging, our people in our industry that are getting out in front of this.
Well, again, Fred's been a leading pioneer in the quest of educating people too on cybersecurity, and his background. He's a technical person, and he approaches it from a technical person, where people like me, I approach it from a business perspective. And but the fact that we are recognizing people in and around cybersecurity, I think it makes a powerful statement to our industry that we're starting to recognize the importance of cybersecurity. And there's good people out there that are trying to further the education and the importance of cybersecurity. And Fred is definitely up there as one of the leading voices, if you will. So it'll be very exciting to have him as a presenter and presenting this award to a deserving individual.
Well, I think, between you and him, you both are really plugged into the people that are playing that way. And I don't know that Fred's going to give him a badge, a big hat. All this talk about black hats and white hats and red hats and gray hats. And I'm kind of thinking, man, maybe it starts out, maybe Fred's the sheriff, and this year's recipient will be one of the deputies. And then every year we'll add to the posse, right, to send out and go get those building BAS bad guys, right?
Yeah, well, we know one thing he's not going to do. He's not going to give them a USB drive, so we know that. So,
very well said, man.
Yeah, so, but anyway, yeah, it'll be fun. And again, back to the CTAs, one of the things that really excites me this year, and again, we all work very hard to make it new and refreshing it every year and whatnot, is, the nominees, both from the technology perspective as well as the various individuals who've been up for as nominees. Again, as we said earlier, it's the biggest one yet. Some new categories and things like that. So, it just shows you how our industry continues to really evolve and be ahead of the curve, if you will, by just looking at all the nominees that are in this year's class, if you will. The nominee class is what I like to call them.
Sure.
There really are. Kenny could speak to that, Mark. I mean, they're from all over the world. We have one company that we had never heard of. Kenny and I, research them, a company called Digital Blanket out of Mumbai, India. And, it looks like they were picking up quite a bit of support, so it'll be interesting to see if they make the finals with that. So, again, Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we will be broadcasting the finalists. Kenny and I will be doing it. Unfortunately, Marc can't be in Atlanta for that. And we'll be rebroadcasting that on Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. So can't wait to see who gets on the finals.
Well, Eric, just a testament to what you just said there. And I almost felt sheepish about trying to attempt some of these pronunciations. But we've had Velger Deporte from Sharjah, UAE. We had several firms from UK, Punjab, Pakistan, Medina, Saudi Arabia, Australia. I mean, we're talking 36 countries, and these people are very proud of the work they do, and they're celebrating with us. This is very serious. These guys, they're seeing what we're doing here, and these companies are seeing what we're doing here, and they too have a voice, and they want us to pay attention to what they're doing. So you're right. I was overwhelmed with how many people voted from outside the North America, to include Mexico. I mean, Mexico always participates. Canada always participates, and of course North America. And England's big, Germany's big, but these other countries are growing from, like Marc said, with the common currency. So it all makes sense, and hopefully we can receive these guys in Orlando.
Yeah. So we can look at the Control Trend Awards as the United Nations for the industry, where a common language is being spoken, which is the Control Trend Awards. There you go.
Oh, I love it.
I like it too, Marc. And listen, another new category we have this year is the Building Automation Integrator of the Year, Control Trends Building Automation Integrator of the Year. And I tell you what, we probably had 150 systems integrators that showed up on that nomination ballot. Kenny and I basically started out with a blank ballot, so these were added from the Control Trends community. And one of them, Marc, I think is one of your key integrators, is a company called Automation Integration out of Oklahoma City. What can you tell our audience about that?
Yeah, they're one of those types of groups out there that they truly bring a vast wealth of knowledge, both on the building side, on the IT side, the physical security side, the cybersecurity side, and their client base are some of the most challenging and demanding ones out there. And they truly have a group of individuals at that organization that are passionate about the industry, know the technology, and really bring a whole new level of service and understanding to meet the individual challenges of each and every client. So.
Well, good deal. Well, listen, Marc, we're going to start to wrap it up here, but I want to hit a serious note here real quick, okay, before we sign off. Good news for you. One Kimberly Brown from Cochran Supply has agreed to be your co-host again. And for our listeners who might not know, Marc, being the suave individual he is, he needs a beautiful co-host. And I think Kimberly did an outstanding job last year. You're a hard guy to keep up with, and I thought she did a good job with that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have her be my co-host again. And it's always nice, too, to also have some other presenters that we'll be calling upon to present some of the awards as well. So just having a collaborative, we talked about collaboration, having a collaborative effort, if you will, in participating in this. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
The best show yet. Our guest, Marc Petock, Lynxspring.com. You can see Marc along with the rest of the superstars of the HVAC and building automation controls industry in Orlando, Florida at the 2015 Control Trends Awards. Marc, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to speak with us.
Hey, guys, thanks a lot, and look forward to seeing everyone in Orlando.
Awesome.
All right, man. It's so great to hear from Marc. Man, it's going to be a great show, Kenny. I just can't wait for that. What about you?
Really, I'm excited. We're in the middle of November, but it feels like it's right down the road. I cannot wait. I'm excited, genuinely. Because I think it's a big event. I love to see exciting events take place and to know what we have planned and to know who's going to be there. I already know it's going to be a good event. So it's
going to be fantastic, brother. Fantastic. All right, Kenny, what do we have up next?
We're going to shift back to Dozier Mills, and he's also a very well-rounded guy. He's a musician. He's good at tech support for Stromquist because I've talked to him. But he also has a penchant to keep us all focused on important things. And he put a post up that has two important components to it. One, that Veterans Day is an opportunity to say to somebody that's serving now or served in the past, to tell them thank you for the service they rendered or they render right now. And Veterans Day is the day you do that. You honor and remember those who served in the Armed Force Services. But the neat thing he put out was that there's a special note that the green light beacon located at New York on 417th Fifth Avenue will be on view during the Veterans Day parade, but it's supposed to be really cool looking. And that leads us into the unique thing that they're doing with green lights. If you feel inclined, warm a veteran's heart, change one of the lights that you used to be green in a visible location on your porch, your home, or at your office, and keep it glowing every day as a gesture of your appreciation and support for our veterans. But what's really cool about this post is he puts a picture underneath it of this stud from 1942 that the Navy used as one of their poster boards. And you wouldn't be surprised to find out that that's Dozer's father.
That's Dozer's dad. Yeah, how cool is that?
Well, that's cool, and it's so that's why he, in particular, he loves the opportunity to say thanks and to recognize his father for his the services he rendered way back when.
Well, and you too, Kenny. Again, thank you for your service in the Air Force, and Doge, yours as well. And I think we got several veterans that work with us, and what would we be without our veterans, man? I tell you, and our troops. So.
Alrighty, moving on to the next post, and this is one of our favorite guys too. I belong to that ACI Cheesehead League, and I love it. The NASCAR pool and the NFL pool. I did really well, and I do lousy, and I do really well. But I look forward to every week, and thank you, ACI. I think it's part of ACI's engaging aspect. It's certainly coined into it has to be integrated into, I think, the version of social media. Just getting people engaged. Everybody's professional. Everybody knows each other. But then you throw something on top of that to make it a little bit more meaningful. And but this is Barry Downtown Gordon. I'm sorry, Barry Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon, yeah.
Because of Flash Gordon, I got it. But he is one of the hardest working technical support people in the business. But he really takes his job serious. He was formerly one of the Control Trends winners for the best technical support. And he really gives it. If you call Barry at 11 p.m., somehow he's still up or whatever, and he'll text you, okay, here's your price, or here's the delivery. But he's just constantly connected, and he really enjoys his job.
Well, he does, and I got a chance to interview Barry. He was at the Lynxspring Exchange. ACI had a booth there, and these guys just make great peripheral devices, Kenny. They do, and they're from the Midwest, Wisconsin. They've been voted, I don't know how many times in their community as like the best place to work for, quality products. They take a lot of pride in what they do, and Barry was one of the first recipients of Control Trend's Best Technical Support Award way back in 2012. So we like Barry Flash Gordon. You're right. He likes what he does. He's passionate about it, and we're lucky to have guys like him in the industry. And
ACI, they're an American company that really believes in what they do. Again, they're very active in the community, but they make great products, and they don't stop. And they made acquisitions, I think, that were very important in the building automation and what we do for a living, because all your transducers, all your signal changing, they have it all. So it's a one-stop shop for all those accessory items so vital to building automation. All right, Eric, next up, I told you we're going to hit this Lynxspring thing. The coverage is amazing because it has so many interesting but important people. This next post was the gentleman, Sean Clan from Intelligent Buildings. It was kind of cool to listen to him because his job is to obviously reach out, network with people, but you put him on the spot. You asked him for the trends. What are the three top things, or what are two of the three top things that you're seeing in the business? And Intelligent Buildings is one of the top consultancy companies in the business. They're international. They've been around the world. Tom Shercliffe and
Rob Murchison.
Rob Murchison won the Petock Award last year, but this guy was ready for bear because he says he cites the consultancy topics that Intelligent Buildings are prepared to help solve for their customers are number one, cybersecurity. So it hits you again. He says it's an issue that has to be proactively addressed to secure industrial control systems, and after the fact, it's too late. Analytics and all the other third-party solutions out there. It's just an overwhelming avalanche of solutions. Now, which ones are good? He said, well, the best place to start is from the customer's perspective. Here's your organization. Here's what you're trying to do. Trying to solve this. You're trying to save money, energy, operational money, and these are what you should be going with. And then thirdly was that the right people in the room representing every important facet of the organization. That's a pretty cool summary. What did you think?
Well, we had heard, he works with Tom Shirtliff and Rob Murchison as, PID recipients. These are all very, very knowledgeable guys, Kenny. And I think the premise of what they're talking about is that it's no longer up to one individual about the system. And in organizations where it is, where one individual decides, they usually fail because you don't have buy-in and input from all the different people that are affected by the integration of your building automation controls and lighting and everything else. So I think what these guys really specialize in is sitting down with all the players, making sure everybody's on the same page, they're aligned, and then helping them select the best technology for their particular needs, and then also laying out and designing an implementation plan so that everybody has an understanding of what this investment is going to yield, why you're doing it, and make sure that it works. These guys are awesome. Sean was one of the speakers there. I've heard Sean speak several times. He speaks at Realcomm Ibicon quite a bit. They just seem to have very articulate, very knowledgeable people at Intelligent Buildings.
Smart, yeah, that's a good name for them because they're all very, very classy, smart guys, and we learn a lot from them.
We do.
Next up, Eric, we're going to shift gears here because this is called Follow the Money. This is the SGIP news and activities, and for those control trends communities that don't know what SGIP means, it's Smart Grid Interoperability Panel. And we watched these people come from the inceptions to now, and now they're really starting to hit the numbers, and they're a vital aspect of our smart grid. This is a particular release from the president. Her name's Sharon Allen, and this is where, members, I am pleased to announce that SGIP won the NIST funding opportunity, which we submitted via competitive bidding process in June. So she was very happy to announce that they will receive $2.1 million when it's finalized over the course of the next 3 years. And now they can go out there and they can really help us as a whole, as not just our industry, but everybody, the people that manufacture Nest thermostats, or Nest, of course, Honeywell, all the smart grid people, all the meter companies, the smart meters, our Dents, everybody that's now making a two-way communication between, like you said, the generators and the demand takers, how they can really truly monitor that and maximize the efficiency of it, because we're not going to build any more power plants. We're
done.
That's what they say, and they're closing stuff. And the peaker plants are probably the biggest thorn in the whole bush, because we have to maintain the ability for worst case scenarios. So we have to maintain peaker plants that can deal with peak demand in the event we have a tornado, something. The cold front that hit Texas last year was a perfect example. And the good work and the hard work that the SGIP does, the smart grid and the ADR 2.0 and Connex Energy going to last mile, the work that was in place actually delivered the result. The desired result was that we didn't have a brownout, and the people that needed energy the most urgently got what they needed to get through the crisis, and they did that by managing the availability of the power that's on the grid at any given time. So it's
very
pretty
well
cool
said,
post.
Kenny. Very well said. Good post there. What do we have up next, big dog?
Well, this is going to be, why don't you start it off, and then I'll cover a little bit. It's the DG Logic's Project Assist 2.0. And talk about
well,
Dennis.
Kenny, I tell you what. I saw Dennis and Arthur at the Lynxspring Exchange, and I tell you what, buddy, I saw something I thought I would never, ever, ever see in this lifetime. The men in black were not in black. They were wearing dark blue. You have to watch the video to see it. And if you've been following Control Tips for a while, you know that we're big fans of Eugene Mazzo and the team at DG Logic. And partially because of their style, man. They always wear the cool black suits. They look cool. They make cool products. They talk cool. They were wearing dark blue, buddy.
Well, dark blue's still pretty close, isn't it? So it's a classy secret agent look.
They look great. They look great. Don't get me wrong, Dennis. You look good. You look really, really good. But wasn't black. I wonder if Eugene knows about that. But no, it's a cool product, Project Assist, and they just keep up in the game to make things more efficient, easier to use, Well, what's your take on it? Do you have any integrators that have used it yet?
Well, I'll tell you, just to kind of give an overview, DG Logic has been, one of those companies that came in and just conquered so much of the visualization world. I mean, they really put it to work explaining why visualization was superior to some of the other things that we had been accustomed to. And then I think they were one of the pioneers because a lot of other people came right behind them. It was like a great idea, let's do it. So I think they started something, but DG Logic is out of San Francisco area. They're San Francisco Giant baseball fans, which is good or bad, I don't know.
I thought they were Oakland A fans, man.
They were, but they moved.
They did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they moved. So, seriously, they provide innovative software solutions that enable and visualize the IoT. And then the IoE technology illustrates the Internet of Everything through customizable applications and dashboards, allowing users to easily interact with various sets of data from various devices and derive more value and intelligence to better manage dashboards. So then what the Project Assist was that Dennis K., I call him Dennis K. because he's got a great name, Kustanov. Yeah, Kustanov. But he discussed what the Project Assist does. Now, this wizard is taking a process and making it easier and simpler to make it you can more easily and more rapidly create HTML5 interfaces in order to better manage and monitor facility data. So it's a faster tool, it's a simpler tool that uses more intuitive user experiences, offering full flexibility and customization without diving into the full design and development that people aren't comfortable with. So I think what they're doing is they're doing a lot of heavy lifting behind the curtains. They're putting that out in a more sweet spot location for people in our business, the systems integrators that need to have graphics. We always thought that the bells and whistles, were going to go away, and that, animated graphics and fans turning and boilers turning red when they're on, and it was going to go away. Well, guess what? They haven't gone away. In fact, now that's the standard. Now they expect it. And I think so. Now you have to provide it automatically. You just can't charge an arm or leg for it. But what's more important is the aggregation of data and how that's presented, the visualization of data, the actionable items that are reds. I mean, alarm, action, do something. Greens means good. We're okay. Our project's working well. We're doing things right. And then all the other anomalies that you can create to know that there's maybe better take a look at that. All the run hours. And what I like is when they start competing, they show which sites are more competitive or more energy efficient. They create an atmosphere, a green atmosphere around a campus, around a hospital, or even in
the building. I mean, that's a big thing Marc Jewell talks about. One of the guys who talks about energy. How do you sell today's building owner and what they're after? And part of it is that energy dashboarding in the lobby, because the tenants want to know that you're saving money and how much money you're saving, to be able to have something like that. DG's great at that. Where you can put it in. And of course, then my favorite word, new vocab word we learned from Alper at BASGG last week is data cleansing.
Data cleansing, and then Marc gave us data pumping.
Yeah.
But I was down at, we had an opportunity to go down to the PNC building in Pittsburgh that's on 5th and Wood Street, and they actually have a sign saying it's the greenest building in the world, which is quite a statement to make when some of the things we've covered out there in San Francisco, the public utility building. But they have a dashboard it's a 4D dashboard. It's not a dashboard where you read words on a billboard. It is a suspended piece of artwork that reacts to lighting, but it shows the water savings. They get a lot of water from the rain, and it takes care of all their brown water application, whatever. I'm sorry, not brown water, but the water you don't drink, non-potable. So they use it for the plumbing. They use it for watering flowers. So they're lessening the demand of water, and then all the energy that they derive on site from solar, wind, and so. But it's printed. It's on this streaming board around a circular It's an artistic rendition of a green screen, and I had to get the. You could give them your license, and they'll give you a smart pad, and then you can actually sit there, and it gives you the itemized areas of what they've saved, what they've done, what kind of energy saving mode they're in right now, where the sun is, and how they have louvers that open and close and direct light, so that you use less interior lighting. I mean, it's off the chain. It's amazing.
It is too cool. But I tell you what, it's becoming a major part of your brand.
Right.
And I think the CEOs are really getting on board with the fact that you better have sustainability a plan, and it better be visible, and it better be part of your brand because nobody wants to deal with an energy hog.
Well, Pittsburgh's very proud of the PNC tower, I believe it's called, and it's a platinum LEEDs, and it's something to behold. It's pretty special.
Very, very cool stuff. And, well, again, Eugene Mazzo and the team will be at the Control Trends Awards. They're always platinum sponsors every year, so we really appreciate those guys. And what else, Kenny? Is that what else?
We've come to the end of our poster, Eric.
We have. Okay, there you have it. Another week of Control Talk now for the week ending November 15th, 2015. A very special thanks to our guest this week, Marc Petock, and we really do appreciate our audience. Remember, Tuesday night, tune in to Control Trends at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to find out who the finalists are in the 2015 Control Trends Awards. If you missed that, you can tune in Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Just that coaching on Thursday. So with that, Kenny, have a great week, and remember, stay in control.